Thanks for dialing in. And great. Okay. Thanks everyone for dialing in. This is Phase 2 training. If you missed last week's Phase 1, we have it archived, and you can go to our training website and view that hour training. Tonight's training, or today's training, will cover how to tag people, how to assign tasks to your board members, selling tickets, integration with Facebook, create paid membership pages, how to RSVP for events, how to create new email blasts, and you should have your PayPal or your event details on hand. So if you are following along on your own site, you'll be able to do it as we go. So that's basically a quick overview of what we're doing. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to type them in the chat box to the left. And if you can just type in your name and what club you're from, that would be great. We just want to make sure we capture everybody who attended. Jason will put us on mute, so just let us know when you have questions, and I will tag team on the questions that you enter on the left.
Perfect. Yeah, and so just so everyone knows, I'll go ahead and try and pause a little bit as we go through each section, so that any questions that haven't gotten answered via chat, we'll get to answer as an entire group. We're actually doing pretty okay on sound for now, but I'll go ahead and mute everyone other than myself, because I'm a little bit of a sound hog when it comes to these types of things. So there we go. Awesome. Well, thank you for that quick intro, Jackie. And I'd love to go ahead and dive right in and my screen. So again, our goals for today's session are to build on some of what we did initially to start getting our website set up during the first part of training in Phase 1. So just a little bit of an overview of what that was all about for folks. We started doing some initial work on setting up our website, including doing things like adding information about our site, adding some visual content to various pages on our site, and determining whether or not some of those pages should appear in various navigations in our NationBuilder website. So just to go ahead and look at our demo site that we're working from here today. And we're going to do a little bit more work today on specifically setting up actions for people to take on your club website. We've done a little bit now just with like the basic navigation, basic visuals, but now we really want to be able to start building out the organizing workflows such that when people come to your club website and take some sort of action, they're going to get assigned directly to some representative member of your club leadership that's going to be in charge of maintaining that relationship going forward. So the first part of that is really going to be allowing us to connect what happens on your NationBuilder website directly into your database of people that's attached to that website. So we're looking at the public website for the Columbia Association of Australia right now. And when you log into your NationBuilder website, you'll have a section here that you've probably played around with a little bit that's called your NationBuilder control panel. This is going to be accessible only to administrators within your club, and you're going to be very specifically setting up actions that you want your potential and existing members to be able to take when they get to your website. So we've done a little bit of setting up content on pages, changing your headline, whether or not the pages are published. Let's actually get a little bit deeper into the kinds of settings you can get into to actually set up specific actions. Looks like Michael has a question. You raised your flag with a question, Michael? If you do have a question, feel free to drop it into chat, and I'll definitely keep monitoring those as we go along. So NationBuilder has many different templates of, oh, just an accident, no problem. So NationBuilder has a lot of templates of pages that you can create different actions for people to take on your club website. If if you kind of look at my screen right now, you'll notice that all of the pages that we have listed here, you can see that we're under a list of pages because that's underlined up here in our navigation. And then all of the pages that we have on our site currently have a different type that they're starting from. These are our action page templates. So you can start from a template of just having a volunteer sign-up form. You probably dealt a little bit with the basic pages in phase 1 training where you're adding some basic visual content to them, and they didn't really have any action people could specifically take. One of the most powerful actions, and one that'll be most relevant to your clubs, will actually be setting up alumni events that people can RSVP for, both free and paid events. So let's actually dive into a calendar page in NationBuilder and see what goes into setting up an event so that not only can people RSVP for it, either on your website or via Facebook, but that you can sell tickets to it, and that when people RSVP or take the action of coming into that event, they're routed specifically to someone within your club that's going to be responsible for following up and make sure that that person has a follow-up reminder so that when that person does in fact RSVP, there is an administrative member of your club that's going to be in charge of maintaining and continuing that relationship. So we'll see here on the Columbia 250 site, we have a calendar page. And you kind of think of a calendar as the holder of your events. So if you click into a calendar by clicking on its title or slug, it's going to take you down into the settings for this specific calendar page. Now, in order to create events on that calendar, you'll actually go over here, you'll see there's a link for your calendar settings. But if you want to create events on that calendar, events are going to be kind of like children pages of this parent page, the calendar. So we'll click here under events and subpages, and that'll allow us to create a brand new event for people in our club to attend. So I've clicked on events and subpages, and then right below that, as you may have noticed in NationBuilder, when you click on the first line of links, there's often then a second line below that that has more specific actions that you can take underneath that particular action. So we're looking at all of our events under this calendar. Now we want to create a new event so that it appears on our calendar. So I'll click New Event here. And just like any other page, I want to name it. So this is going to be my alumni meetup. And we'll make sure it is published to our website by selecting that in the status bar dropdown. And this is now going to take us a little bit deeper into NationBuilder, and we're now underneath the page for the alumni meetup event. You'll take notice here that because this is now an event page that we're dealing with, it has its own unique set of settings for being an event page. You can really tell where you've gone in the website tab by using these helpful breadcrumbs, is what they're called, at the top of your page. We're in the website, we're under the website Columbia Association of Australia. We're under the calendar page, and now we're specifically on the alumni meetup event that's located within that calendar. So if we take a look at the type of settings that we can get going here on our event page, a couple of things will jump out to us right away. We're going to want to be able to make sure that we sell tickets to this event, potentially. And we are also going to want to make sure that when people sign up for this event, that they're routed to a member of our organization for follow-up, and so that we have a tag to easily identify them going forward, that they've RSVP'd for this particular event. We're also going to want to be able to potentially link this up with a Facebook event on our club fan page, in case people RSVP through Facebook and we still want them to get pulled into our NationBuilder database. So how to handle all of those things, you'll notice that there's quite a few other fields we can work with as well, like setting up the name of the venue or adding a location so that the event shows up on our calendar map. All of these are things you may want to do, but I'm going to focus very specifically on making sure that once people come into your event, they're routed to a point person. You can link it up with Facebook here under the social tab, And we'll also want to be able to sell tickets to our events at various levels. If you've linked up your PayPal account, you'll already have a donation page, which isn't actually for doing donations to your club, but it's going to be specifically for processing ticket payments on your linked events. So first things first, you can go ahead and here under our basic settings, we can check off that we want to sell tickets if that's something we want to do on this particular page. You'll then select the donation page or the donation page that you want to use to process those payments. And if you want to set up a tracking code so that you can track what event these payments came from, you would select that from this drop-down here. Now, whenever you make changes to a page, make sure you go and click Save Settings at the bottom of that page. That's true of a person's profile as well. Any changes you make, you're going to want to make sure you actually save them. So in NationBuilder, we have kind of three core components to making sure that as people interact with your website, or really your nation in any way, if they're emailing into you, if they're interacting with you on your social media accounts, or they're texting into your linked phone number, all of these people, there's really kind of three core things that are making sure that they're routed effectively to someone within your alumni organization. We can find and change those three settings on any given page, generally under the advanced settings of that particular page. So here under event settings, we'll click into advanced. And this is going to allow us to easily identify someone to whom RSVPs should be assigned. Then we'll be able to leave that person with a reminder of what type of follow-up conversation we want to have with them. There's a whole thing, this whole concept in organizing where you don't merely just want to have people take actions. You want to engage them in a more meaningful way off of the initial way that they come into your universe. And the way that NationBuilder facilitates that is make sure that after anyone takes any action, that there's someone responsible for that relationship going forward, specifically the point person. And then that point person has a suggestion for what type of conversation they would want to have with that person next. If it's coming to an event, maybe the follow-up conversation you have is encouraging that person to organize their own event sometime in the future. It really depends on how you want to continue to try and motivate and engage the members of your club. We'll also want to be able to tag people so that we can specifically identify groups of folks that have taken particular actions in the past. For instance, in the case of this alumni meetup, maybe we want to create a tag that's very specific to that. If someone RSVPs, we'll say that they were an event RSVP for our alumni meetup in March of 2014. Now, anyone who signs up to RSVP through this page will get that tag, and it will be really easy for us to pull down that group of people from our database if we want to send them an email or communicate with them in some way in the future. So we're going to also mark RSVPs as needing a follow-up. Maybe just as simple as outreach. You can then set the date that you'd like the follow-up reminder to be set, so it doesn't even have to be that exact day. The point person may want to follow up a couple days later. It really depends on what your ask is going to be of people. You can also fully customize these follow-up types, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second so that they're relevant to the type of organizing your club will be doing. We'll also make sure to assign a point person, and in this case, I'll make sure that it's Emily. So go ahead and save that. And we'll also want to be able to link this event up with an event on Facebook. If we've created that event already on our Facebook fan page and we copy in the link, anyone who RSVPs on Facebook will get sucked in the same way that someone who RSVPs to our event using our actual website. So click here under Event Settings into Social, and you'll see that there'll be a place for you to add a Facebook event URL. Go ahead and copy that in, paste it, and then your event will be connected to Facebook. There's so many other different types of actions you can have people take on your website, like volunteering to help out your club with a volunteer sign-up page, even just eliciting suggestions from the club on what kind of events they'd want to see going forward with a suggestion box page. You can review a full stable of all of the action page templates that you can work from in NationBuilder on our website. And there also is some information on that, some recommended page types in the Columbia training materials. But let's make sure we understand now what happens when someone comes in and actually RSVPs for one of these events. So I'm going to access this event as if I'm a brand new person who's never visited the website. Got a new alumni in town. We've got this locked down. That's not going to work at this moment. Do we have any questions before I go into a little bit more around how you'll be managing your memberships? Cool. All right. So we've been really dealing so far mostly with the website section of NationBuilder. One thing that we talked about in phase 1 of training is the fact that we can grant access to different pages on our website depending on how engaged the person is with our club at this point in time. That can be anything from we want to make it completely visible to the public to only people who've actually already taken an action and are therefore logged into our site. Or we can even have a higher level requirement that someone actually be an existing member of our club in order to be able to get to that content on our website. It's going to be a great way to specify some special opportunities for club members to get access to member-only events. If you have a video that you want only members to be able to see of your club, special opportunities for local club members. All of that stuff can be set up to be behind a membership wall. But before we can actually grant that option on our website, we're going to need to give people a way to acquire those memberships through our nation. And that's going to happen all through our paid membership page template that we start with. So first thing we're going to need to do, and we're going to jump a little bit between the website and the finances tab to do this, is review all of our existing members in our nation, and then also take a look at what types of membership levels we want people to be able to have once they are signing up for our nation. Many clubs have elected to do precious metal rankings, bronze, silver, gold. Whatever kind of makes sense to you in terms of the tiers, can review that under the Finances tab. Then click into Memberships. And this will give you a view of all of the existing members that you have in your nation at this point in time. If you want to change and toggle the different levels of membership you want to be able to grant people through your membership page, simply do that from here. Let's go ahead and create a few metal-based levels. So this membership page is going to allow you to have members pay their dues directly through your website instead of having to send in a check to the club. So we've created those new levels, and now we're going to want to go back to our website and actually create a membership page where people can purchase one of these different levels. It may even just be one if you only have one level of dues that you want people to be able to give at. But do note that these are going to be fixed levels that people can select from. So choose them wisely and plan accordingly. So we'll create a new page. We're going to select from a paid membership page as our template. You can then create the page, and in setting up the membership settings, you'll be able to specify both where the money goes, how people are tagged, and to whom new members are assigned. So we're going to automatically use our new donation page. We'll tag new members as members website sign up, so we know that they came in as members through the website. And we'll say that Emily Arnold, or let's say Jackie's in charge here. We'll save those settings. So again, memberships do have to be paid on your website. So think through that. If you want to be able to just like say that someone is a member without them paying, you can easily edit their profile and give them a membership level. But on your website, all of the ways you can acquire a membership are going to be at some level of payment. Your club probably has its own specific due structure, so as you're setting this up, make sure you mirror that. So in order to get our bronze level, for instance, in this nation, I'm going to have to pay $10 per year. It's not very high dues. But then to become a silver member, for instance, we might set that to be $25 per year. Awesome. So if you look at this on your live website, you can do so by clicking the live link here, or by simply clicking the link at the top of the page settings. You'll see that you can purchase your dues at either of these two levels, and it's going to be linked back to your PayPal account if you've configured that properly. So does anyone have questions about why you might be setting up events or memberships in your nation? And if so, any questions about how I did so? Give me just 1 second. I'm going to make sure that we can actually see what this all looks like end to end. So we also want to make sure that I actually realized I missed a step on creating this event just a moment ago. We wanted to make sure that we were going to charge for tickets. So I checked off the box under the alumni meetup here that we should, in fact, sell tickets. But we didn't set up levels for those tickets to be set at. And ticket levels for events are going to work almost very similarly to how membership levels work. You have to make tickets have a paid level in order to have them. So if you click into the event settings and then tickets, that'll give you the opportunity to specify at what level people can pay tickets for your events. So regular admission at $5. and special admission at $15. Now, no matter what kind of page you're working with, there's going to be, and you probably discussed this a little bit in phase one, settings on that page that are the same no matter what type of template you're working from. So event page, calendar page, blog page, they all have these same basic page settings that you can find here under the settings link when you're within the settings of a particular page. So if we click into that, we're going to see that we can specify that only members can access this particular page. Who can view it? Set to members only. We won't do that for now because we want to be able to demonstrate what it looks like when someone RSVPs for this event. But do keep that in mind for when you're wanting to set up content that is only accessible to dues-paying members. All right, so we're going to turn off our ticketing so that I can sign up without putting in my credit card info. And notice how every time I'm making a change, I'm coming back down and clicking that Save Settings button. So now I'm going to say that I'm a brand new alumni for this Association of Australia, never come to the website before, and I land on our event page, which is still behind a logged in wall. Give me 1 second. To that same place where I changed the specific settings of that page, I can also change them on the calendar, which is currently set to be viewable only to people that are logged in. There we go. Change that to anyone. Let's go back to our meetup page. So I'm now clicking into the alumni meetup event by clicking on its slug. And now I'm going to visit it as if I'm a brand new dude. It's finally going to work this time, I promise. There we go. Okay. So Roxanne has a good question. Will members be able to check their membership status themselves? We always get people who cannot remember if they have paid their annual dues. So you absolutely can. So if you notice when I was setting up the membership level, that there was it kind of like listed that there was a name of the membership and then also a badge for the membership. You can absolutely have it where the person then has a badge on their profile that shows that they are that level of member. And we'll take a look at that after we go ahead and see what happens when someone RSVPs for an event. So here's our alumni meetup. And I'm signing up. And notice that as we're gathering this information from folks, we're asking them whether or not they want to hear from us with our club's email updates or our club's text message updates. Now, you'll only be able to send and receive text messages if you elect to do the texting add-on with your nation. But by default, email newsletter updates are going to be something that you'll be able to send to different segments of your club membership from the day that you activate your nation. So let me go ahead and finish my RSVP. It's odd. Because I elected to RSVP on Facebook, that's why. Whether or not someone says that they want to receive updates from you is going to determine whether or not they become a specific type of person in your database. In NationBuilder, people who have opted in for your communications are called supporters. Folks that you're trying to convert to being opted in to hear from your club are going to be prospects, and people who have specifically opted out of hearing from you in terms of blasts are going to be non-supporters. Go ahead and complete our RSVP. And let's see now in our control panel what happened to Jason when he signed up for our event. If we go back to our dashboard, we'll notice that generally this shows all of the activity that's happening across our nation, whether that's people taking actions on our website or emailing in to us, interacting with us on social media. But it's kind of like a Facebook newsfeed. It's really an up-to-date snapshot or a ticker tape of everything that people are doing to engage with you. So for instance, Jason just signed up as a supporter, and we see that he's been routed to Emily Morris, which is how we set up that RSVP page to work. If we click on his name, we're going to see all of that contact information that he provided us on his form, and this has automatically created a profile for him in our database. A couple other really key things have happened as well. So he's been assigned to Emily, who's now in charge of everyone who RSVPs for this particular event, and set for an outreach follow-up for 3 days in the future. So now when Emily logs in as a club administrator, she's going to, on a daily basis, have a set of reminders for all the people she's supposed to be contacting. Emily can also set profile reminders for herself. If she actually wants to also try and get Jason to volunteer with the club, she's not ready to quite make that ask until next week. You can set the calendar out for another follow-up some point in the future. We'll do a little bit more work with setting future follow-ups and logging your interactions with members of your club in phase 3 of training. The final key here is the ability to see a group of people really quickly who have all taken the same type of action. You may end up using these for surveys, for instance, as people identify what sorts of events they're interested in hearing about. But in the case of an event, if someone has specifically RSVP'd for that event, you may use that tag to communicate with all future event RSVPs going forward. Maybe you want to send them a quick reminder the day before the event, for instance. So you see this tag? It's like a little sticky note on Jason's profile. If we click on it, it's going to take our entire database and sort it just by folks who have this tag. If you want to see some other tags that are already in here, looks like we've got volunteer event signups, or interventionist. Let's go with our sign up event tag there. So when there's a whole group of people that actually apply here, it's going to pull them all up at once. There you go. If we happen to know that someone is part of a group that should be tagged appropriately and they just don't have that tag already on their profile, Let's say you happen to know that Sally was really interested in all of your upcoming ice skating events. You can merely click on the Add Tag button on her profile and automatically add that tag to her. Now if you click that, it's going to show you Sally and all the other people with that tag. This is going to be really useful for pulling out a group of people that should be receiving an email blast from us. So before we go into a little bit more about that side of things, let me go ahead and show you, Roxanne, where you'd be able to identify that someone is an active dues paying member. So right now I'm logged in as NationBuilder support. So if I go to the live website here, you'll notice that anyone who's logged in has what we call the supporter navigation. Remember, in NationBuilder, supporter is someone who's opted in or taken an action. So a supporter is going to see another set of links that are really something you only want to surface for people who have already really participated with your particular organization. Right here on that person's profile, their badge of the membership that they have will be displayed. So if they're an active dues paying member, they'll know just by logging into their site. Okay. So our last topic for today is, now that you've kind of seen how people come into the database, how they get assigned directly to administrators of your club that are going to be responsible for maintaining the relationships of new members of your club, how do you actually then communicate with people en masse? Go back to your control panel by clicking the link in your supporter nav, or merely just going to your NationBuilder account /admin. And in order to draft an email blast and do any other outbound communication from your nation, you're going to click here into your communication tab at the top of your control panel. So you'll kind of notice that the first thing that pops up here, same way we have websites or individual people under these other tabs, in communication, the entity that's going to be communicating out on behalf of your nation is called a broadcaster. Kind of makes sense. It's like a voice. It's like a voice that is empowered to speak out on behalf of your club or nation. For many of your clubs, this will just be there'll just be a broadcaster as the name of the club. You may also have your club president have a broadcaster. And it's not going to necessarily correspond to a real person, but it's going to be the display name of any outbound communications that come out from your specific communications effort. So you can also connect up your club Twitter account or your club Facebook fan page to a broadcaster, and then that'll start pulling in interactions that people have with you on those specific platforms. With Twitter, it's going to pull in people who follow you, tweet at you, or retweet you. On your Facebook fan page, it's going to pull in people into your database who like posts on your page or RSVP for Facebook events that you've linked up to your events on your NationBuilder website, as we looked at a little bit earlier. We'll also, if you elect to pay for texting, be able to receive incoming text messages and have people take actions that way, or send out text blasts. But what we're mostly focused on here is being able to take a list of people, either by the tag that we've identified on them, or we can get a little bit more nuanced in how we're building the universe of people to communicate with. And we'll cover that a little bit more in phase 3, how we can run an advanced search of our database and search off multiple criteria at once. But for now, we're going to kind of simply select a tag as the people that we want to receive an email and look at all the options that we have for moving forward with that. So in order to begin to use your broadcaster to send email, go ahead and click into the broadcaster and then select email as the method for which you wish to communicate. You'll then select New Blast. Type the name of the blast. So this is a alumni meetup invite. Click Create and Edit to begin drafting your message. The first thing that you're going to actually come to is a dialog that asks you to whom this message should go. Now, those tags that have been automatically created or you've manually added to people are going to quickly serve as an opportunity for you to easily segment out your database by the types of groups you want to communicate with. So for this particular alumni event, let's, what are our tags? If you ever want to review your tags in your database, you can always go back to your People tab and look in the drop-down. And let's go ahead and just use this tag that we created for our event. We want all of our supporters who have the event RSVP alumni meetup tag. So this email might be just a reminder that they should be coming to the event that they RSVP'd for. We'll review a little bit more about lists and filters, the two other ways that you can group people in your database in phase 3 of training. Your next step in drafting this email blast will be to select which theme you want to use. Obviously, from your club website, you've pretty much locked into the theme that was prepared for you from CAA. It may just make sense to, in drafting your email blast, select the basic theme with a logo, because that'll automatically pull in the logo that you've used in building your website. You'll then go to your body in order to draft that email blast. Specify a subject. Sorry, I clicked ahead by accident. Make sure you RSVP and send your friends here to RSVP if they have not. Now you can make sure that this link is an actual hyperlink in the email by clicking on this little link icon as you're drafting the copy. Paste in that URL, insert it, now you should be good to go. The same way you were able to incorporate images on your NationBuilder website, you can do the same thing for a blast. Once you've actually drafted your email and have it all ready to go, you'll be able to see an HTML preview of how that image will look, how that blast will look for people that actually have the image enabled in their email client. Or if it's just text only, that's how it'll go out as well. At this point in time, you can send a test email to make sure it looks good. You can send the email now or schedule it out into the future. So if this is a reminder email, this can actually be something you can set up way in advance, because people who get that tag will automatically still be part of that tag at any point going out into the future. So if we want to just schedule this for the day before the event, if we were to schedule it now, anyone that picked up that event tag between now and then would still get this reminder email, because NationBuilder would be looking for the tag at the moment that they blast is scheduled to go out. So this is going to be really great for automatically being able to send reminder emails or follow-up emails based on specific actions that people have taken. All right. So just to recap of today, what we've done is started to review some of the basics of how you can set up actions for people to take on your club website, the kind of 3 core organizing components of every action people can take, the fact that they can be assigned directly to a point person or an administrator of your club. That point person can be reminded with a follow-up that they have to get back in touch with that member for a specific type of conversation, and that members can get tagged based on the specific actions that they take for future targeting, or just grouping them by their preferences or the specific things that they've done in the past. We reviewed some of the specifics about setting up events, like being able to sell tickets, tracking RSVPs, integrating with Facebook events. And then we've also made it possible to both take dues through our NationBuilder website using the paid membership page, how we can specify different levels of membership, and then also restrict access to different content on our website to those dues-paying members. We've seen what happens when someone actually RSVPs for an event, what the process looks like for them, and then we will also be able to create email blasts for groups of people based on the tags that they've picked up. All right, so we've got a couple minutes here. If anyone has any questions for today, I also want to make sure we go over next steps for what you'll need to have in place to be able to get going on phase 3. Any questions out there? All right. Jackie, should I go over the things that they need to get in place for the next phase, or is that going to be included in an email? So Angie's question, the blasters only go out to people who provide emails, right? Yeah, so we're unable to send email to people unless they actually provide it back to us. One cool thing that happens though, if you notice when people log into your website with Facebook, one thing that NationBuilder does automatically is if there's a linked email address with that Facebook account, when that person signs into your website using Facebook, we'll automatically pull in that email address that's linked up with their Facebook account. So that's one scenario in which someone would not directly provide you with their email address, that they would then become an option for you to email. All right. Angie's asking, will these sessions cover discussion forums? It's a good question. So in NationBuilder, the best way to accomplish a discussion forum is actually going to be using a template that's not, your page template won't be a forum. It's going to actually be a blog. And then I will absolutely go over the steps to take before doing phase 3. So if you notice here, each of these pages are starting from a blog template. And if you want to create a forum, the best thing to do is actually create a blog, but specifically under the blog settings. Instead of it just being a traditional blog where someone who's an administrator is posting to the blog, you can actually specify here under the blog settings that logged in users should be able to post to this blog. So that's going to allow people to create their own subject topics on the blog, which will allow it to essentially function as a forum. So in phase 3, we're going to be doing a couple really cool things. We're going to be going over bringing in some of your existing membership data into NationBuilder through our ability to import in information to your people database. So one thing you should really bring with you for phase 3, or just have in the back of your mind, is a list of your existing membership, and make sure that's in a format called CSV. I'll type it into chat. It stands for comma separated values. If you have a current list of your members in Excel, you can merely save that Excel document as a CSV, and then as long as the columns are formatted properly, you'll be ready to import that list of members into NationBuilder. We're going to also go over a lot of the actual process your point people might go through as they move people along your kind of plan of engagement for club members. So today we really just looked at people taking that initial action to come into your nation, but we'll want to dive much deeper into the steps people can take to get to continue to engage and move people further into more engaged club members. That'll look at logging individual contacts and conversations you're having with people on their profiles, doing some things with moving follow-ups along into the future, and how we can systematically group people using our advanced search and the different ways that we'll be able to move entire groups of people through our engagement using our tags and filters, which are those 2 other ways of grouping people we identified that didn't dive too terribly much into. You're going to also want to think about what kind of people you want to have access to your club's nation, and at what different types of things you want them to be able to do. We'll discuss next time how we can create different levels of permission for different club members. So if you, for instance, want someone who's just responsible for dealing with the website and they can't communicate with your people database, or you want someone who just is able to email people but shouldn't really be messing with the content on your website, you'll be able to create different permission levels and sets for people so that they're accessing only what you really want them to be doing. So really big things to think about. Getting a list of your existing members and bringing that along so you can look at how to import them. Making sure that you're adding all of your potential administrators to your nation as potential point people. And thinking about why you might want to be talking to your members so that we can customize your follow-up types accordingly. What kind of roles you might have within your organization in terms of how people will be managing the nation, so we can create custom permission sets. And we kind of introduced tags today, but what are the kinds of things that you might be tagging people on in your nation's database? Think through all that stuff for next week, and sign up on the Columbia One website for upcoming phase 3 training. Anything else from your end, Jackie? All right, seems like we're in a good spot. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you